BZ. We will be your net control for the Saturday Night Trivia Net number 114. This is a direct to net, so all traffic should go through net control. Does anyone have any emergency or priority traffic they were holding until the start of the net? If so, please come now. Nothing heard. The format of the net is live trivia. One random question will be read over the air to each person who checks in. You'll have 3 answers to select from. And our question of the night is, what's one thing you've tried that you'd never do again? One thing you've tried that you'll never do again. And first, let's see who's checked in so far via the text line. And let me pull up the list. We have... You know you're in trouble when you're faster than your computer. I'm going to have to work on that. All right. KJ6AAR, German George in Scottsdale, checked in via email. He got his question correct. And JR2FJI, George in Kawagoe, Japan. N6MOT, Little Allen, Monterey, California. KN6MIK, Mike in San Diego. KK7HLD, Dave in Portland. KK7AVK, Victoria in Phoenix. And N7FGP, Scott in Houston, Texas, via the text line. KF6HTJ, Brenton, Pensacola. VK2DY, Robert in Kelly Ridge, Australia. KI7LAG, Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon, that is. W2AJR, Andy in Cheektowaga, New York. KN6JLW and KN6JLX, Stephanie and Larry in Elk Grove, California. Let me drop a second. KD5AJZ, Alex in Pasadena, Texas. KD6EIR, Wes in Grants Pass, Oregon. KC2 JPQ, Frank in Lancaster, New York. K8BYU, that's Roy in Blasdell, New York. KD3BPA, Chad in Cadogan, Pennsylvania. And KE2 CCK, Matt in Frankfurt, New York. Anyone else like to join us? Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Victor Alpha 3 Delta Foxtrot Golf. Victor Alpha 3 Delta Foxtrot Golf.
Kilo Charlie 9, India. Kilo.
Kilo Juliet 7 Romeo Victor Bravo KJ7 RVB.
November 9, November Juliet Sierra and 9NJS.
K3HJQ, VK3HJQ, John in Australia. I'll be in and out. Thanks for the net.
Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel, Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel.
Okay, hold on a second. They're the in and out station, if you're still the Australia station. What was your call sign again? I missed it.
Call is Victor Kilo, number 3, Hotel Juliet, Quebec, VK3HJQ, John in Australia.
Okay, John, got it that time. Thanks for stopping by, and let's hold it right there. I think that's enough for a start. We also picked up VA3DFG Jason in Oakville, Ontario, Canada, KJ7RVB Ray and Cody, W9DWH David in Owensboro, Kentucky. Again, the question of the night is, what's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again? And up to the top we go. George in Kawagoe, Japan. JR2FJI. Are you with us tonight, George? JR2FJI, George in Kawagoe, Japan. Are you with us? Apparently not tonight. Well, maybe later. Little Al in Monterey, California, N6 MOT. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again, Little Al?
Eating liver. I will never, ever, ever eat liver again. Anyway, N6 MOT out here in Monterey, ready for my question.
All right, buddy. Got you down. I'm sorry, you would never what? I didn't get that down.
That would be eating liver. I will never try to eat liver again.
He got you down under the Jeffrey Dahmer fan club, huh? Your question is, in Greek mythology, that's the wrong one. Money is the root of all evil, so the Bible tells us, but what does Timothy chapter 6, verse 10 actually say? A, the love of money is the root of all evil. B, you cannot serve God and mammon. Or C, never allow doubt to tarnish your lust for latinum. What's the actual verse?
Well, I know C is from the Ferengi's, God, you got me. Some of the Ferengi rules. Anyway, I'm going to go with A. The love of money is the root of all evil. I'm going to try that. Anyway, Alex, thank you. N6 MOT out here in Monterey. And I got this funny little beep, 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 beep every time I unkey. I don't know what I've done different, but I don't know if you guys hear it. Anyway, have a great night and a good weekend.
Yeah, we're all getting it. I'm getting it too when I unkey, so I'm going off the All-Star system. Hopefully it won't be a problem, but anyway. And you are correct, yes. Money is the root of all evil. That's not quite it. Timothy chapter 6, verse 10 actually says the love of money is the root of all evil. And of course, as you pointed out, answer C is the Ferengi rule of acquisition number 263, but you knew that. Mike in San Diego, KN6 MIK. Welcome, Mike. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
Good evening, Alex. Always a pleasure, and everybody on the net. KN6 MIK, Mike here in San Diego. I don't recommend riding the vertical roller coaster at Knott's Berry Farm twice in a row. Not good. Go ahead, brother. Hit me with a question.
Probably shouldn't ride it even once. You know, my granddaughter talked me into riding a ride at the State Fair some years ago, and I thought, no problem. I rode that ride when I was a kid. Yeah, not the same. All right, your question, Mike, is in Greek mythology, it's not Pandora's box. It's actually Pandora's A, peach, B, jar, or C, gentleman's club.
You know, Alex, I think I'm going to go with B, Bravo. Always a pleasure. KN6 MIK, back to you.
And that is correct. Yeah, it's Pandora's jar, not Pandora's box. Pandora's box was an artifact in Greek mythology connected with the myth of Pandora in Hesiod's 700 BC poem Works and Days. Now, Hesiod related that curiosity led her to open a container left in the care of her husband, thus releasing curses upon mankind. The container mentioned in the original account was actually a large storage jar, but the word was later mistranslated. In modern times, that's probably enough, but in modern times, the idiom has grown from the story meaning any source of great or unexpected troubles, or a present which seems valuable, but which is in reality a curse, like a boat, for example. Don't get me started. Thanks, Mike. Dave in Portland, KK7 HLD. What's one thing you've tried that you would never do again?
Well, thank you, Alex. I gotta say I agree with, about things. Liver. I gotta agree with the liver for sure. And as everybody who knows, anybody that has a boat said, it's a hole in the water you pour money into. And that's the good part of it. Back to you.
Yeah, well, it's, of course, you have to go in the local lakes around here. 99% of the man-made, and well, anyway. Fun for a while. Your question is, why would Mr. Rogers always say out loud that he was feeding the fish in his fish tank? You know what he say? Ever notice that? He says, I'm going to feed the fish now. A, to help the children watching learn how to use proper English. B, to show the children the correct amount of food to feed aquarium fish so they don't overfeed their own. Or C, because a little blind girl wrote to him and said she would cry if she thought he had forgotten to feed the fish. Why did he say out loud he's feeding those fish? Okay.
Well, it was C, which I thought that was really nice of him to do. He was kind of an amazing character for sure. And as always, thank you for the awesome net. KK7HLD.
And you were correct. Yeah, it's C, because a blind girl wrote him and said she would cry if she thought he had forgotten to feed the fish. By the way, he responded to every fan letter he received, and he got over 50 a day. Not by auto pen. He would write each fan their own personal letter. So, every now and then God will send an angel down to earth to pose as a human being, and I'm pretty sure that was Fred Rogers. Thanks. And today, Victoria in Phoenix, KK7 AVK Victoria. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
Good evening, Alex. This is Victoria, KK7 AVK. The one thing that I would not try again is one of those rides on the state fair that just shoots you up in the air, but not because it's scary that much, but mostly because I've seen so many times on the news where some belt failed, or I just wouldn't risk going on a ride like that just because of that, mainly. Anyway, today I ate liver, just actual fact. Just want to say that. It's so funny that everyone dislikes it so much. But go ahead with the other question.
Well, a lot of us were force-fed it as children by our parents, and we were, kind of grew up opposed to it after that. Okay, your question is, an American television question. The first appearance of a home computer was in this creepy 1965 television show about a dysfunctional family. Was it A, Dark Shadows, B, The Addams Family, or C, Peyton Place?
Oh, the only family from these that I know is the Addams Family. So let's try the Addams Family. Bravo. Thanks, Alex, and have a great evening. KK780K back to net.
The Addams Family, yep, that's it. The family computer, which took up most of the room it was in, was called Wizzo, and they used to cheat at gambling and rig elections. Talk about a show ahead of its time. Thank you, Victoria. N7FGP, Scott in Houston. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
Oh, good evening, Alex. Let me see. I think I will never drink Mad Dog 2020 again. Made that rule in high school and I've stuck to it. Ready for a question.
That's because it was cheap and plentiful. That's why. Or Spinata. If you drink too much Spinata, it'll have the same effect. All right, Scott, your question is, so now you know what Wizzo was. What is a Wizzinator? A Wizzinator. Yep, it's a real thing. A, the second generation of the Addams Family computer. B, a device in the Harry Potter books that turns muggles into wizards. Or C, a device that turns dried urine into liquid urine that will pass a drug test. Which one of those is a Wizinator, Scott?
That has to be C. I'll go with Charlie. Thanks for doing the net tonight. N7FGP.
Yeah, you guys are on fire tonight. Yeah, that's it. It's a Wizinator is a device that turns dried urine into liquid urine that will pass a drug test. In 2005, Ontario Smith, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings, was caught with one at an airport, which is almost as embarrassing as being caught with a zucchini wrapped in aluminum foil at an airport like Spinal Tap bass player Derek Smalls, but that's another story. Thank you, Scott. As a W7FTM, along with V3BZ, and you're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net and the East Coast Reflector going to Brent in Pensacola, Florida, KF6HTJ. All right, what's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again? Wrestling an alligator? No, what is it, Brent?
Alex and Vicky and the rest of the net. It's another weekend. I should say getting married, but I'll be nice, and let's go with backpacking. Tried it in the Boy Scouts and didn't like it and never want to do it again. Back to you for my question.
Oh yeah, those forced marches are really, you can kind of relate to the Cherokee Indians. Anyway, I shouldn't go there. Your question is kind of a long one, but hopefully I can get this all out. During the Napoleonic Wars, a French ship was sunk near Hartlepool, England. The only survivor was the captain's pet monkey, which was wearing a tiny French military uniform. Now, English law said that any French soldier found on British soil must be executed as a spy by hanging them. However, when they tried to hang the monkey, A, he just climbed up the rope because he was a monkey. B, 3 French warships arrived and started shelling Hartlepool, saving the monkey. Or C, the monkey made such an impassioned, emotional speech, the Brits changed their mind and commuted a sentence. Which of those happened?
Serendipitous, and C would be the most Trivia Net-like answer. We'll go with B. Well, let's let fortune take its chance tonight. KF6HDJ.
Although it would have been very cool to see them come back with warships to rescue the monkey, and no, it was he just climbed up the rope. Because he was a monkey, they tried to hang him, and he just flipped around, got out of it, and climbed up the rope. Now, Hartlepool has since embraced their failure of trying to execute a small primate for military espionage by naming their local football team the Monkey Hangers. Yeah. True story. Thank you. Thanks, Brent. Don't worry, nobody knew the answer to that question. Robert, Kelleridge, Australia, VK2DY. The man who's been in more nets than a dolphin. Tell me, Robert, what's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
Alex, that is pretty true, actually. I've been on too many nets. I come and go. Sometimes I'm a lot, sometimes I'm not. Anyway.
More nets than a dolphin.
Lots of things I would never do again, but the most recent thing is on my 70th birthday last year, I decided I would take the Climb the Sydney Harbor Bridge tour. And it was a wonderful trip. It was wonderful to get up on top of the Harbor Bridge. But man, oh man, I was sore for a good 2 weeks afterwards. I could hardly walk for a few days. after climbing the bridge. So no more bridge climbs for me. VK2DY.
You know, I did hear about people wanting to climb that bridge and how difficult it actually is, and they kind of warned people about it. But at least she did it. Probably won't do it again, but obviously. But all right, your question is, what are Ritz crackers named after? Ritz crackers: A, the Ritz Hotel; B, the Irving Berlin song "Putting on the Ritz"; or C, German baker and creator Fritz Ritz.
K2DY here. You know, the Ritz is a fancy hotel, so I'm going to have to guess that it was named after the hotel as sort of being a fancy cracker, but I am not sure, but that's my guess. VK2DY.
Yep, figured that one out, did you? Yes, that's right. Ritz crackers were named after the Ritz Hotel. They were created during the Great Depression, and the idea was to associate the crackers with something high class while keeping the price low. By the way, you know what you call a Russian on a cracker? Putin on the Ritz. Sorry. Thank you, Robert. Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon, KI7LAG. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again there, Patrick? Patrick in Beaverton, KI7LAG.
Kilowatt, Fox 5, Whiskey, Fox X-ray. KF5, WFX, East Coast.
Well, good evening. We're doing a net right now, but if you wait a little bit longer, I can check in for a trivia question. So, looks like Patrick's not there, so we'll move on to Andy in Cheektowaga, New York. W2AJR, Andy, what's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
Everybody on the net. I will never cap off a night of drinking with suicidal chicken wings again.
I'm debating whether to put suicidal chicken wings or just chicken wings in the answer box, but we'll, yeah, I guess chicken wings will do it. Thanks, Andy. Your question is, the Disney Corporation, long after Walt Disney had passed on, by the way, sued several child daycare centers for A, showing Disney movies without their permission; B, building the daycare centers too close to Disney parks; or C, painting Mickey Mouse on the walls. What do they sue those daycare centers over, Andy?
Sue them over using Mickey Mouse's image without permission, so I'll say C, Alex.
Yeah, after Walt passed on and the hostile takeover of Hollywood took place, they didn't like Walt very much. He was outspoken about Hollywood, and yeah, they sued anyone with the mouse's image anywhere. And they sued the daycare centers. So what happened was centers agreed to paint over Mickey because they couldn't afford to sue with cartoon characters from Hanna-Barbera, who were much more generous in giving their permission. So, yeah, that's what happened. Thanks, Andy. You got it, buddy. Stephanie and Larry in Oak Grove, California, KN6JLW, KN6JLX. One thing you've tried that you'll never do again, guys.
Hey Alex, this is Larry KN6JLX along with Stephanie KN6JLW. Stephanie says she would never swim in the ocean again, and I would probably never do a 50-mile bike ride in 100-plus degree weather. Go ahead with our question.
Yeah, come to think sometime, well, you know, it's not a good idea. And your question is, the fate of Christianity is thought to have hinged on this one battle in 732 AD when an Arab invasion force was defeated by Christian soldiers. Was that A, the Battle of Hastings, B, the Battle of Tours, or C, the Battle of the Knights who say Ni?
Hey Alex, we'll go Bravo. Thanks for doing the net, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, educated folks know their history. Yeah, it's the Battle of Tours. Yeah, it's the battle took place in France and prevented the spread of Islam to Western Europe, preserving Christianity as a religion of Europe. It was in 732 AD. Yep. You got it, guys. Thanks. Here's a W7 FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, going next to Alex in Pasadena, KD5 HAZ. One thing you've tried, you'll never do again.
That would probably be manage people instead of helping people. I'm ready for my question, Alex.
Yeah, hey, it's good point. Your question is, this real castle was the one the silly French soldiers defended in the film Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That was a real castle. Was it A, Castle Anthrax, Snake Me, B, Castle Doone in Scotland, we don't have a Castle Doone here, or C, Castle Downton Abbey in Wales, which was the castle they defended in Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Well, A is the right answer, but it's not correct. But I believe the correct answer is C, but I'm not sure. I'll throw it to the winds. Thanks, Alex. Love this as always. KD5HAZ, back to net.
Grantham's. It was Castle Doone, actually B, Castle Doone, D-O-U-N-E in Scotland. It's a popular castle that's often used in medieval movies and television shows. So it's yeah. Thank you, Alex. Wes, Grants Pass, Oregon, KD6EIR. All right, Wes, one thing you've tried that you'll never do again. I mean, played someplace where I can't say that, but what do you say?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get married again. 36 years, I thought I was doing okay, but no. So I'm done with that thing right there. As far as, carnival rides, I don't know, I'd probably do them again because I'm so ridiculous and foolhardy. Speaking of foolhardy, back to you, Alex.
All right, Wes. Oh, by the way, in Great Britain, when you turn 100, you get a letter from the King. Isn't that nice? And when you turn 16, you get a text from Prince Andrew. Your question, Wes, is which of the following explanations, now this one's kind of subjective, so humor me, which of the following explanations best describes to a young person what a broken record used to sound like? A, skipping caused by a defect that makes the stylus misread the recorded data. B, when you hit a bump in the road and your CD player jumps to the next song. Or C, you sound like a broken record needs explaining these days. You sound like a broken record needs explaining these days. You sound like a broken record needs explaining these days. What do you think, Wes?
Boy, they're really difficult one. You've been ramping up the hard ones for me, I know, because they're usually pretty easy, but not so much. I'm going to go with Charlie, the third, because it was so explanatory. It left them with no room for misunderstanding. It left them no room for misunderstanding. You get it.
What? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Now, I chose that one because the first one has the word stylus in it, so they wouldn't know what that is. Most likely wouldn't know what that stylus was. The second one, I doubt too many of them have CD players with, CD records in them anymore, mostly, digital. And you're right, C, I think, explains it the best possible way you can explain it. So thank you for getting it, Wes. I appreciate that, buddy. Let's go to Frank in Lancaster, New York. KC2 JPQ, welcome back, Frank. What's one thing you've tried that you would never do again?
Good evening, Alex, and everybody on the net. They had a chicken wing eating contest. You ate 6 wings and you got your name on this wall of flame. I did that, and never again. They were so hot, and they give you jalapeno peppers. I asked the lady, what's that for? She said, that'll cool off your mouth. And when I ate them, they tasted like apples. So, no thanks. And then the next day was not much more fun. Anyhow, back to you, Alex. I'm ready for my question.
Sounds like they left a lasting impression there, Frank. Yeah, I wouldn't touch those either. Your question is, where does the mouthwash Listerine, or well, maybe I didn't word that right. Where does Listerine mouthwash get its name? A, it was originally called Blisterine. It was used to treat blisters. And B, it was invented in Listerine, South Africa. Or C, Dr. Joseph Lister, 19th century medical researcher and hygienist.
I was talking about he went to try a hot wing contest or something.
Alex, I'm going to say A, Alpha. That's just a wild guess. And have a good evening. I'll talk to you next week. Good talking to you. KC2 JPQ.
I didn't know this either, but it was, Listerine gets its name from Dr. Joseph Lister, a 19th century medical researcher and hygienist, apparently way ahead of his time, and at least for that time. Anyway, that's where Listerine gets his name. By the way, there really is a Listerine, South Africa. I was surprised to find that. Thanks, Frank. Glad you could make a buddy hurt. Hope to hear you next Saturday. Let's go to Roy in Blasdell, New York. KA8BYU. Roy, what's one thing you find you'll never try again?
Everybody on the net, KA8BYU. Repelling. Not because I don't like it, didn't like it, but the arthritis in my hands, knees, and hip just wouldn't allow me to do it anymore. What's the question tonight?
All right, Roy. The question is, let me scroll down here. Hey, how's your Swedish, Roy? What does the Swedish word flipperforald mean? Flipperforald. It's Flipper, FORALD. Only there are those 2 little dots above the O and the A, so I'm probably mispronouncing it. But anyway, what does it mean? Is it A dolphin? B, a parent who gives their child a lot of freedom? Or C, a politician who keeps changing his position on the issues? What you think?
boy. I have not a clue on that. Yeah, what the heck? Let's go with Alpha just for the hell of it. KA8, BYU.
Yeah, and of course I would have known either had I not looked it up, but it's a flipper frald is a B, a parent who gives her child a lot of freedom. It translates into pinball parent. Yeah, you won't find it in an English dictionary or thesaurus, and yeah, obviously. By the way, you know what the first rule of the SARS Club is? You don't talk, converse, discuss, speak, chat, deliberate, confer, or gossip about the SARS Club. Thanks. Thank you, Ryan. Chad, Cadogan, Pennsylvania, KD3, BPA. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
This is KD3 BPA. Chad, I will never, ever, ever again eat alligator, specifically on a hot September day in West Virginia.
One more time, do what?
I said I will never, ever, ever again will I eat alligator, specifically in a hot September day in West Virginia.
Right then. All right. Thank you, Chad. Your question is the Defenstration New Year's Festival in South Africa, DEFENESTRATION. It features, yes, a reenactment of the Boer War, B, a Civil Rights March to honor Nelson Mandela, or C, people throwing old appliances and furniture out their windows. What's the Defenstration New Year's Festival in South Africa involved?
Oh, wow, I'm going to have to go with B. No, I have no clue.
Well, this is the place with more obscure trivia. It's C. What they celebrate in New Year's in South Africa is throwing their old appliances and furniture out their windows. It's the New Year, so you get rid of all your junk, apparently, and just throw it out the window. So, you know, I've got a kid in Africa that I feed, clothe, send to school, and inoculate for only 75 cents a day, which is practically nothing compared to what it cost me to send them there. Worth it, though. Thanks, Chad. Matt in Frankfurt, New York, K2 CCK, welcome back. What's one thing you've tried that you will never do again?
Hey, everybody, I'm in that. I tried that I did not like was horseradish. I'm still not a fan of that. Never changed for 20 plus years. Back to that.
Yeah, I never saw the appeal of that either. My parents liked it, but I'm not eating that. Your question is, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. This quote has been attributed to several people, but where did it actually come from? A, Albert Einstein, B, Mark Twain, or C, Alcoholics Anonymous?
Oh, Alex, I think it's A, Alpha, just on the limb. KE2, CCK, back to net control.
Yeah, this is kind of odd. It actually comes from a book by Alcoholics Anonymous. it reads, what it actually reads is insanity is repeating the same mistakes and expecting different results, and it was changed into doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. But yeah, it comes from a book by AA, so guess I missed that one. Thanks, thank you, Matt. Here's a W7FTM, and along with Alex, along with Kevin, V3BZ, and we're going next to Jason in Oakville, Ontario, Canada, VA3DFG. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
One thing I'd never try again is putting water wings on my ankles.
I don't think I'd do that again either. Yeah, your question, Jason, is during the sword fight between Inigo Montoya and Wesley in The Princess Bride, the names of several fencing masters are mentioned. They were actually the names of A, the film crew in the movie, B, characters from Shakespeare plays, or C, Royal Renaissance era fencing masters. Which was it?
Not quite sure. Good movie. Watched it plenty of times. Let's go with Bravo. See if that's the one or not. Thanks for doing that.
You know, I was surprised at this. I like a movie that really gets the details right, and those are actual C, Renaissance era fencing masters that they're talking about when they're fighting each other, and they choreographed that really well. So we were quite impressed by that movie ourselves. But anyway, thank you, Jason. Ray and Cody, KJ7REB. Welcome back, Ray. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again? And be a facilitator for the ECR.
Good evening, Alex and everyone. This is Kilo Juliet 7 Romeo Victor Bravo Ray and Cody, Wyoming. I'm going to have to go back to the early to mid-70s and say Uzo. It was a miserable night and miserable 2 weeks after. I'll take your question, sir.
You say Louisville?
That was Uzo, O-U-Z-O, Greek Turkish liqueur.
All right, I hadn't heard that one before. It's kind of surprising, but I'll put you down for that. And your question is, before he became famous, who played Cowboy Curtis on the television show Pee-wee's Playhouse? Was it A, Tom Cruise, B, comedian Eddie Murphy, or C, Lawrence Fishburne of The Matrix?
I'm going to go with Charlie, Lawrence Fishburne. Kilo Julie 7, Romeo Victor Bravo. Clear. Thanks.
Yep, that was him. Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne, The Matrix. Morpheus played a curly, long-haired cowboy opposite Paul Rubens. So, there is no spoon, unless you're inside an adult movie theater with Pee Wee Herman, but that's another story also. Thank you, Ray. David, Owensboro, Kentucky, W9DWH, welcome back. And what's one thing you tried that you'll never do again, if anything?
Good evening, Alex, and everyone on the net. Going back a few questions, my heart kind of goes out to Minnie Mouse because she suffered a life-altering event that she never recovered from whenever old Walt flipped her a Mickey. I would probably say night shift. I've been working night shift for 40 years, and it's got to the point where the hardest part of my job now is just staying awake all night. So if I ever change careers or change jobs, it definitely won't be night shift.
That I understand. I did that for a little over 30 years, and I'm still in that mode. So, anyway, David, your question is, during the COVID lockdown, a restaurant in Canada was accepting this from customers as proof of vaccination. A photo of their dog, and B, a bottle of maple syrup, or C, a $100 bill.
Being in Canada, I could see B, but I'm going to say probably Charlie convinced the most. Back to you, Alex. Thanks for running the net.
Well, to the restaurant's credit, they didn't take bribes. You're thinking of an American restaurant. The Canadian restaurant actually took pictures of people's dogs as proof of vaccination. They were letting people in if they just showed a picture of a dog. Now, as silly as that may sound, it was 1,000 times less silly and outright evil than the COVID scam. But anyway, the restaurant was, of course, shut down by the authorities, and hopefully they're still doing well, but it's pretty darn creative, actually. Thank you, David. Alan in Lubbock, N7. WZI via text line. Welcome back, and what's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again? Alan Lubbock and 7WZI. Okay, maybe later. Shane in Beaumont, Texas, KI5GSS. Shane, what's one thing you've tried you would never try again?
Well, I don't have any answer for anything I've tried that I would never try again, but one I do have is if I ever left the United States soil again, I'm never doing that again. I'm ready for my question.
I understand that. My nephew went to Rocky Point some years ago to celebrate, the college break and all that. And he was dancing with a girl he thought was a college girl, and she turned out to be 16. And her father complained, and they arrested him and put him in jail for a couple of days. And as you probably know, we had to come up with a lot of money to bail him out. So they, of course, do that on purpose because they know we'll pay. But all right, getting to your question. By the way, welcome to the SWL Trivia Net. Your question is, stress can cause gray hair, but it is A, reversible, B, related to your astrological sign, or C, more common in people with Irish ancestry. What do you think?
I'm going to have to go with C on that one, Charlie. Thanks for running that KA5GSS.
Oh, Shane, I was surprised by this, and also, but actually, stress that causes gray hair is reversible. Yeah, researchers are beginning to understand that the gray hair may not be a linear process, but can be, at least in part, halted or even reversed. Great. Now they tell me. Thanks. Thank you, Shane. The W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, going next to Terry in Harrogate, Tennessee, via the text line KF4ACB. What's one thing you've tried that you'd never do again?
in trying to find the right microphone. This is a common effort with me every night. I've got microphones hanging everywhere, and they keep moving around on me. I think the cats have got something against me. But in any case, what is the overall question for tonight?
All right, Jerry, I think you said microphones or cats and microphones, so we'll clear that up in a minute. Your question is, hang on a second. Here we go. Nebraska Senator Bruce Bosselman recently joked during a televised debate that schools have started doing this, and people took him seriously. A, fingerprinting students. B, issuing handguns to students so they can... Or C, placing litter boxes in school bathrooms for students who identify as cats. What do you say?
Well, I don't know what the correct answer is, or the politically correct answer is, but placing the litter boxes in the bathrooms makes perfect sense to me.
Well, there you go. That's what he said. Yeah, he was joking that placing litter boxes in school bathrooms for students who identify as cats will be the next thing, and that schools are doing that. Now, he was being facetious, but some of the Democrats took him seriously, as one of them angrily pointed out. There's no evidence whatsoever that schools are doing that. Oh, sure. Not yet, anyway. Thanks, thank you, Terry. Brian in Monticello, Kentucky, AC4BR, welcome back. And what's one thing you've tried you would never try again?
Well, good evening, Alex and Vicky and everybody else on the net. For whoever's doing the logging, I thought you mentioned somebody else was doing it tonight. I may or may not have heard that correctly. Anyway, just one regret, or wouldn't do over. That's a good question. I guess I will go with, now my memory would kick in, or lack thereof. I guess I'll do jumping, like jumping down off of something or what have you. You cross 40 and you don't jump off of nothing after that. At least if you're wise, it would seem. What's my question?
Yeah, you just can't jump off the roof after fixing an antenna anymore, that HF antenna. I know I used to just lower myself down and, now it's ladder time. Thank you. If I get up there at all. All right, Brian, your question is, the short-lived game show, Who's Your Daddy, featured... here we go. Featured A, female college students looking for sugar daddies to pay their tuition. B, adopted women trying to identify their biological fathers in a male lineup. Or C, babies that were released by their mothers and raced across the track trying to find their fathers on the other side. Now, I swear to you, one of those is correct. Which was featured on Who's Your Daddy? Oh man, underwater packet loss. Try again with your answer. We got most of that. I just missed the answer. Which probably would have made more sense than the actual answer. But The game show Who's Your Daddy featured B, adopted women trying to identify their biological fathers in the male lineup. If she picked right, she won cash. If not, the man she fingered got the money. As you could imagine, there was a huge backlash from adoption agencies and adoptive parents, and the show was canceled right away. Yeah. Too bad. It was one of the more creative and interesting shows on television, but that's okay. Thanks. Thank you, Brian. And finally, Fred in Reno, KK7OGC. Welcome back. Hopefully we're still together and on the air. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again, Fred?
Yes, this is KK7OGC back in Reno. I will never build a concrete block wall again. 65 bags of concrete and the concrete blocks and the fence posts to drive it in and anchor it down. I refuse to play with concrete bags of concrete anymore.
Hey, just putting up a mast, an antenna mast, to laying the concrete and all that was hard enough. I could imagine a wall, though. That's why they have masons. Your question, Fred, is... Oh, I got another weird word. What is the Swedish word... let me make sure I get this right. Attitude incontinens mean. Attitude incontinens. It's spelled ATTITY DINKONTINENS. Is that A, a person who's afraid of heights, B, a person who can't keep their opinions to themselves, or C, a person who's convinced that Apple will make another comeback someday?
Alex and Kevin, thank you for running the net. I'm going to go with Bravo on that one. KK7OGC, Fred in Reno, back to net. Thank you.
Yep, that's it. It kind of sounds like what it is. Attitude incontinence. It's a person who can't keep their opinions to themselves. Well, we could use a word like that right here. Thanks, Fred. And yes, this is W7FTM in Scottsdale, along with V3BC Kevin, and you're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector. Timothy in Tillamook, KK7NXV, glad you could make it. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
This is KK7NXV. I think I tried marriage and didn't like it, and so I don't think I'll have to do that again. Thanks for running the net.
Yep, that would be a good one not to try again. Your question is, where does the myth about carrots making your eyesight better come from? Yeah, carrots making your eyesight better? It's a myth. Did that come from A, carrot farmers, B, health food fanatics, or C, World War II?
I'm not sure, so I'm going to guess and say Charlie. KK7NXV, back in that.
Yep, that's a good guess, because that's where it comes from. When the Germans were bombing Britain, they couldn't figure out how the Brits were able to plane night. And British propaganda stated their gunners and pilots ate a lot of carrots to improve their eyesight. In actuality, they were covering up the fact that they'd invented radar and didn't want the Jerrys to know about it. So that's where that comes from. Now, there are vitamin A and things in carrots that can help your eyesight, but it's, that's where it comes from. Thank you. Thank you, Timothy. All right. That's the bottom of the list. Now, JR2FJI, I think he may be connected now. George in Japan, did you make it back? just emailed me and said he just now ran out of data. He was ready to go, and then yep. That's what to do if you don't have the data. All right, we're taking more check-ins now for the SWL Trivia Net. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
ZI and 7WZI.
Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie. Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie.
Kilo 3, India Mike. Kilo 3, India Mike.
Kilo 4, Bravo Romeo, case 4, BBR voice in Sholo.
D4 RHL, KD4 RHL.
Okay, those last two, could you come back and repeat? We did first the KD4 station. What was your call sign again?
KD4 RHL, KD4 Romeo Hotel Lima.
Okay, that's all right. We're having the spreadsheet is arguing with us tonight. It's not letting us put your call sign in, so I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, pen and paper. That was KD4 RHL. Is that correct? And your first name, please?
First name is Ernest, and I'm in Bronson, BRONSON, Florida.
I'm going to call again for more stations. We got you down, Ernest. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie. Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie.
Okay, we did pick up Alan again in Lubbock, N7WZI, and Bob in Sylvania, Ohio, WD8PIC, and KD4 RHL Ernest in Florida, and let's go to Ernest first, WD8PIC. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
Okay, you said the wrong name, but did you want me? This is Bob.
Oh, hey, Bob. I was trying to get Ernest in there, KD4RHL, whatever the call sign was.
Yes, sir. You gave Bob's call sign and my name. Something that I've tried that I'll never do again. I was much younger, but thinking back on the depth of my stupidity, I will never pressure wash a friend's metal roof again.
Yeah, I can see that one too. Yeah, sorry for the mix-up. We dropped out a little bit, and things got a little crossed up. But all right, your question, Ernest, is well, Lucky you, you get the Weird News Trivia Story of the Week. Yep. Which of the following headlines was an actual news story this week? A. Scientists in China developing the world's first pregnancy robot capable of carrying a baby to term and giving birth. B. Microsoft scientists create realistic female companion robot that screens your emails to make sure you're not seeing other robots. Or C. California issues commercial driver's license to Stevie Wonder. It's about time. Now, which one of those was a real news headline?
Well, I recall as I was panning through social media, actually seeing some robots that had like a glass dome and were carrying a child. So I'll go with A, KD4H.
Yep, that's it. Yep, scientists in China developing the world's first pregnancy robot capable of carrying a baby to term and giving birth. The humanoid will be equipped with an artificial womb that receives nutrients through a hose, experts said. A prototype is expected to be released next year with a selling price of around $9,000. You know, I heard a robot try to rob a bank last week, but was caught when its battery died. And police decided not to charge the suspect. Sorry, you deserve a better joke than that, Ernest. But thank you for coming to the net. Alan in Lubbock, Texas, N7WZI, welcome back. What's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
Skateboarding. And I don't know if I'm getting in there or not, but it says my Supermon page is going nuts on me.
Yeah, it's going haywire over here too, so it's taking me a little bit longer. So thanks for your patience, everyone. We got you down for skateboarding. I wonder if somebody was going to mention that, especially people that do it when they get older. Think that it's a piece of cake and it's and more like a piece of asphalt. And your question, Alan, is $536,000 worth of Guinness beer is wasted every year in A, brewery plant accidents, B, improperly refrigerated kegs, or C, facial hair.
I would say the not refrigerated kegs is probably the worst of it.
Yeah, I mean, foam goes everywhere. You can't tap the keg right. You know, they say facial hair. Yeah. $536,000 worth of Guinness wasted every year in facial hair. A Guinness study found that 0.56 milliliters. Well, you know, come on, I use the imperial system. 0.56 milliliters gets trapped in the average beard or mustache with each sip, totaling over 162,000 pints a year. Yep, somebody studied that. Okay. I also heard that Budweiser is suing Coors for casting Sarah Jessica Parker in their upcoming Super Bowl ad. Apparently they have a trademark on beer advertisements starring a horse. Thank you, Alan. Bob in Sylvania, Ohio, WD8PIC. One thing you've tried, you never want to do again, Bob. Driving, I don't know, like that. Anyway, what do you think?
Okay. Well, sitting out on a beach and talking for about 6 hours and getting fried. I mean, I didn't even want to move. I got extra sunburned with no sunscreen. We didn't intend to be there that long, but that's the way it worked out. And oh, was that miserable. I don't ever want to have that happen again. And back to that, the question a while back on who's your daddy? Well, think about it. That all those contestants have to be from Indiana.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah, sunburn on the beach, and because of the salt air and water and everything, you probably feel like a banana too after that. So, anyway, your question, Bob, is which of the following is a trick still used by Hollywood to introduce good characters versus evil characters in the movie? A, the good guy always wears white, the bad guy black. B, the good guy is usually introduced moving from the left side of the screen to the right, the bad guy the opposite. Or C, the good guy is a complex character with intense but controlled emotions, and the bad guy is selfish, direct, and evil. Which of those Hollywood tricks is still being used?
I'm going to say C, only because I have zero idea. And you know what worked with that sunburn? And it was perfect. I was at my grandparents in Pompano Beach, Florida, and they said, make a cup of tea, a large cup of tea, but then use like 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 tea bags. You're not going to drink it, but you're going to use it to swab all over the burn with Q-tips or, whatever is really soft. And do you know that the next day or two you could not tell that I had ever burned? It was amazing. Satanic acid and whatever in the tea. Just plain tea, but lots of it. It would be so strong you would never drink it, but you swab it all over the... I hurt so bad, I sat in the middle of a room with nothing on, and I was in pain. I mean, I will not try that again. Go ahead. I didn't intend to anyway, but, I did. It didn't... We got to talking and the time went by. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I was young and foolish, I did it on the Salt River here in Phoenix. You could float down quite a ways from a dam towards on the outskirts of Phoenix, and yep, you just don't pay attention or you don't care. Or you had a few too many beers, and yeah, tannic acid. That's I thought I heard something about that before. I didn't realize it worked that well, but thanks, Bob. And no, the movie trick is B. What they'll do is the good guy is usually introduced moving from the left side of the screen to the right, and the bad guy the opposite. We tend to associate movement to the right as being natural and positive. You may not notice it, but your mind does, and people in Hollywood know this. That's why the good guys usually come from the right side of the screen to the left, and the bad guys vice versa. And no, I didn't know that either. Thank you, Bob. All right, so W7FTM, Scottsdale, Arizona, taking more check-ins for the SWL ECR Trivia Net. Hopefully the problems are been reworked. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Kilo Charlie 1, Quebec, Papa Lima, KC1 QPL.
Alpha.
Oh, we just got Alpha, something on that last one. Try it again, please.
VK3 Alpha, Whiskey Alpha, VK3 Alpha, Whiskey Alpha.
Oh, thanks, Gerald. Yeah, Kevin caught it. I didn't. So, anyone else? Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
I don't know if you got me last time. Kilo 3, India Mike. Kilo 3, India Mike.
Might have been a double as well here. K4 BBR voice, Kilo 4 Bravo, Bravo Romeo.
Oscar Papa. Whiskey 2, Oscar Papa.
Okay, hold on a second. We got John in South St. Paul, KC1 QPL. Daryl in Australia, VK3WA. Boyce in Surprise, Arizona, K4 BBR, and couldn't quite pull the last station out. Try it again.
Kilo 3, India Mike. Kilo 3, India Mike.
Okay, and Kilo 3, India Mike, and W2OP. Got two guys down now. Let's see, let's go to John in South St. Paul, Minnesota, KC1 QPL. What's one thing you've tried that you'd ever do again there, John?
Well, good evening, Alex. Good evening, everyone tonight. One thing I would not do again is bungee jump. That would be once was enough for me.
Yeah, especially if the cord breaks. But I mean, I agree with you that it's for the young and flexible. Anyway, your question, John, is which of the following that figures statements is actually true? A, women's clothes are made without pockets to promote handbag sales. B, corsets are more comfortable than some modern underwear and are good for back support and posture. Or C, the United States government aided and rehomed Bigfoot families after the eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980. Which one of those is true?
Well, Alex, I'm taking a total guess with this, but I'm going to go with A, Alpha. That's my best shot. Thanks for having me tonight. I'm glad I could make it in.
Yeah, my wife agrees with that one. She seems to think it's true, but no, it's B. Corsets are made more comfortable than some modern underwear and are good for back support and posture. Yeah, apparently there's no proof that women's clothes are made without pockets to promote handbag sales, although I'm pretty sure that's probably true too. Thanks, thank you, John. Daryl, Paradise Cecil, Australia, VK3 AWA. All right, Daryl, what's one thing you've tried you'd never do again?
Good evening, Alex and Kevin. Hopefully I'm getting in okay. I've got radio problems here. The thing I wouldn't do again would be work for the government. Alex, back to you.
Yeah, what's that old joke about what do you call a snake that works for the government? A civil serpent. Your question, Daryl, is also something about American history. What did Paul Revere actually say during his famous midnight ride on April 18th, 1775? A, the British are coming, the British are coming. B, the regulars are coming, the regulars are coming. Or C, to arms, to arms. And remember, for the highest quality teapots, jewelry, and authentic silver creations, visit Revere Silversmith Shop on Road 7 near Maple Street. What did he actually say?
Alex, allegedly he's where's the nearest McDonald's, but I'm going to go with A, the British are coming. Back to you.
You see, they told us that in history class as we were growing up, but it turns out what he actually said, Paul Revere doing his right in 1775, was the regulars are coming. The regulars are coming. That meant the regular British Army or Redcoats, and that they left Boston and were marching to the suburbs. A lot of the people were British and still identified with British citizenry, only they didn't like the Redcoats, and that's where it came from. So, thank you, Daryl. Got you down, Boyce and Surprise. K4 BBR, welcome back. What's one thing you've tried that you'd never try again?
Well, good evening, Alex. Actually in Sholo tonight, moving around. When I was 22, two other buddies and myself decided we wanted to do a winter backpack. So we prepared for it, or we thought, and we climbed down into Little River Canyon, which is one of the deepest gorges east of the Mississippi, which happens to be in Alabama. And we made camp on the bank of a river, and everything was going well, and it was cold, but that night it snowed and went to 7 degrees. And I got frostbite in my left foot on the toes, and I don't think I'll ever do that again. Give me a question.
Yeah, that would be a reason not to. Your question, Boyce, is I sincerely believe that the principle of spending money to be paid by posterity under the name of funding is but swindling futurity on a large scale. Who said that? A, Thomas Jefferson, B, John Quincy Adams, or C, Bill Clinton?
Well, Clinton would be the funny answer, but I actually think it was John Adams. I'm going to roll with him.
Yeah, they all had such good vocabularies that any one of the founding fathers could have said it. But that was Thomas Jefferson. He said that in 1816. If only we'd have paid attention. By the way, if you enjoy history trivia, you're invited to join us on the American History Trivia Net at 9 p.m. Arizona time, Sunday night. This is a new net in the Phoenix area, but it can be reached via All-Star node 53656, and also by Echolink if you don't live in the Phoenix area. Visit Superstition Amateur Radio Club at superstitionarc.org for more info and ways to connect. And thank you, Boyce. We hope to see you there. All right, next up we have K3IM. And if you give your first name again, like I said, we're having trouble with the spreadsheet tonight. We'll go ahead and get you a question. K3IM, and what's the one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
Well, good evening, Alex and the net. Name here is Jason Juliet Alpha Sierra Oscar November. And one thing that I'll never do again is a few years back, I worked for a company, and the network administrator was from Texas, and he persuaded me to eat a raw goose pepper.
Well, you know, Jason, many parts of a goose pepper are edible. Good Lord. Yeah, all right. Learned a lesson there. Your question is, where would one compete in a wife-carrying race? A wife-carrying race. Is that A, Russia, B, Finland, or C, after a divorce?
I am going to go with B, Bravo.
Yeah, that's it. That's the thing they do in Finland, a wife-carrying race. I believe you win your wife's weight in beer. the winner does. So, which usually it's fairly large guys who have petite wives, and it's just kind of funny to watch. But yeah, I think they've duplicated that over here a few times, but that's the original wife carrying race. Thank you, Jason. Got you down. W2 OP, first name again. And what's one thing you've tried that you'd never do again? W2OP, Michael, I think it's in East Aurora, New York.
Good evening, Alex. The one thing that I've tried and I'll never do again is anything that has to do with plumbing. Whenever I try it, everything still leaks. That's what I won't do. Back to you.
Oh, I definitely hear you there, Mike. The wax ring under the commode in the guest bathroom is starting to leak. And I thought about, undoing the bolts and taking it up and doing it, and I thought, no, it really takes two people to do that. I'm calling a plumber, so I hate to lose my man card, but that's just something I'm not going to do anymore. And your question is, which famous 20th century actor was Star Wars villain Jabba the Hutt modeled after? Do you know this? I didn't know this. Was it A, Humphrey Bogart, B, Sidney Greenstreet, or C, Peter Lorre? Who did they model Jabba the Hutt after?
Well, Alex, I'm going to go with Bravo. That's my best guess.
And that is the correct guess. Yeah, Sidney Greenstreet. By the way, all three of those actors were in the movie The Maltese Falcon, and George Lucas instructed his design team to make Jabba alien and grotesque, just like Sidney Greenstreet was in the movie. What great acting in that movie anyway. Thank you. You got it? Thank you, Mike. The W7 FTM, Alex, along with Kevin. Let's see. Oh, I don't need your location, Kevin. We know who you are. Let me scroll down. Taking more check-ins for the SWL Trivia Net. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
FX, operator Marcus, Amarillo, Texas, ECR.
At KF5 WFX, is that correct?
Yes, sir, indeed. KF5 WFX, operator Marcus, Amarillo, Texas. Back to net control.
Okay, Marcus, got you down. And all right, what's one thing that you've done that you would never do again?
Oh boy, that's quite the question. I'm going to have to plead the fifth on that, my friend. I wasn't prepared to answer that question. anyways, thank you for running the net and getting me in the log there. KF5 WFX, clear on the East Coast Reflector.
Oh, you don't get off that easy. That's okay. We'll take too many things you've done that you wish you hadn't done, wish you would never do again. That you'd never do again. Your question, though, is from 1912 to 1948, these were allowed to compete in the Olympic Games from 1912 to 1948. A, dogs. B, convicted criminals. C, artists and musicians who were in the Olympics back then.
Okay, I'll go with B. KF5 WFX, answer B.
B, no, it's, wait, did you say B or C?
Now you're making me question my answer. I said B, but maybe I want to change it to C. No, I'll keep B.
Yeah, actually it is C. It's artists and musicians were allowed to compete in the Olympic Games from 1912 to 1948. Painters, sculptors, architects, writers, and musicians all competed for medals in their respective fields. And it wasn't just about sports there for a while anyway. Thanks. I do appreciate you checking in, and I hope to hear you next Saturday night, and everything will be working better. Taking more check-ins for the SWL Trivia Net. Phone call sign phonetically twice, please.
Kilo Juliet 5, Lima Lima Tango. Kilo Juliet 5, Lima Lima Tango, Richard and Houston.
All right, KG5, LLT, Richard, Houston, thanks for checking in. The question of the night is, what's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again?
Well, when I was younger, I thought roller coasters would be fun. And it turns out I did not find them to be fun, so I have not been on a roller coaster since I was about 8 years old.
Yeah, funny how your priorities change. Well, you're a kid, you're into the rides. When you're a little bit older, you're more into the girls that go to the amusement park, and so that's, I gotcha. Of course, they're scared of the rides, which kind of work to your advantage. Your question is, candy canes were originally created to, A, celebrate the Christmas holiday, and B, be given to children by barbers after they got a haircut, or C, keep children quiet in church. Why did they originally come up with candy canes?
I'm going to go with Charlie.
Yeah, how'd you know that? Yeah, that's it. They made candy canes to keep children quiet in church. In order to justify giving children candy during worship service, the sticks were shaped like a crook to help children remember the shepherds who visited the baby Jesus. That's what they said anyway, and it helped keep the kids quiet, so apparently it worked. Thank you. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate you checking in. SW7FTM, along with Kevin, V3BC, and taking more check-ins for the Eastern Trivia Net. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
KQ4 BPZ, Kilo Quebec 4 Bravo Papa Zulu. Good evening.
All right, picked up another one. Ralph in Miami, KQ4 BPZ. Welcome back. I'm glad you could make it. And the question of the night is, what's one thing you've tried that you'll never ever do again?
Good evening, Net Control. One thing I'll never do again is Everglades camping. It's the tides are wild, man. They drift thousands of yards. You put your boat in deep water, and next thing you know, you wake up in the morning and the boat's on its side. QSL.
QSL indeed. And on top of that, you get a good mosquito initiation, I'm sure. That's goes without saying. But thank you, Ralph. And your question is kind of a modern day question. You're not going to believe this. Well, we'll see. A teenager in Utah got into trouble for trying the Bird Box Challenge off the internet. Bird Box Challenge. It involves A, performing ordinary tasks with a blindfold on, B, climbing up to an eagle's nest and photographing yourself eating a box of crackers, or C, trying to box with an aggressive rooster. What's the Bird Box Challenge?
Jesus Christ, bro. I wish I remember your name. I did a couple of weeks ago, but man, it's been a long week. I have no idea. I think it's Alex. Alex?
Yes, you have Alex, W7FTM, and I'll take a guess. It's any of those could be possible because this is an internet challenge. So what do you think?
What a world we live in that any of those answers is a possible, plausible answer. I don't think I want to live in this world anymore. Like, well, what a crazy world we live in. Please, Alex, give us the right answer.
Well, I'm not here to debate the philosophical worth of anyone's personal beliefs, but you're all right, we'll give it to you. It's A. It's not as bad as you think. The teenager in Utah got into trouble for trying the Bird Box Challenge, which involves performing ordinary tasks with a blindfold on. Didn't sound so bad, right? The teen decided to take the challenge while driving her car. She crashed into another car, but no one was injured. A young person thought that was a good idea. Thanks. Well, it could have been an older person, too. Who knows? Thank you, Ralph. Anybody else like to check in the Eastern Trivia Net? We still have openings. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
KD3BFE, Kilo Delta 3 Bravo Foxtrot Echo. Name's Elliot in Baltimore.
Okay, I got you down here. I know you checked in before. Like I said, we're having a little technical difficulties tonight. And a question of the night is, what's one thing you've tried that you'll never do again? Like plugging into this net? I don't know.
No, my answer is going to be very similar to a few other ones that were along the lines of spicy food. My stepbrother and I, when we were younger, my brother thought it would be funny to dare us to, he grew habaneros in his garden, and so my stepbrother and I took a challenge. We stuck a couple of them habaneros in a food processor, a little blender, and we each took a heaping spoonful and put it in our mouths and chewed it, and see who could handle chewing it the longest. Now, I wasn't about to give up easy, so I outdid him by a little bit, but it burned for hours and hours. Milk, bread, didn't matter, it hurt. So yeah, never again.
And yeah, that one I can relate to also. I was trying to impress a girlfriend in high school, and I took the hot pepper shaker on I think it was a pizza restaurant we were at. They had jalapenos or whatever, cayenne in it, and I just opened the jar and just took a big mouthful of it and smiled. And I kept the expression there. Pardon myself to go to the bathroom. Well, anyway, your question is, which country has the most tornadoes by land area? Most tornadoes by land area. Is that A, the United States, B, Brazil, or C, England?
That's pretty funny. Yeah, good question. I'm going to say B, Bravo, just because I think they can get some inclement weather there more, but I could be wrong. Anyway, KD3 BFD, thanks for running the net.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how they figured it, but actually the country that has the most tornadoes by land area is England. Yeah, apparently they get tornadoes occasionally, and being fairly small, I mean, the United States obviously much larger as Brazil is, and yeah, England has the most tornadoes by land area. Thank you. I appreciate you checking in, and again, sorry for the technical difficulties, but anyone else want to try it? Full call sign phonetically twice, please. We'll get you in and we'll get you a question. Come on now, folks. We haven't yet begun to break the internet. Try it again. Full call sign phonetically twice, please. Okay, then it looks like we had 40 people, 40 even, checking in tonight. And of those who answered the questions and weren't in and out, we did have one or two of those. We have 18 people. Oh, I'm sorry. 19 people got their questions correct, and 16 people missed their questions, so it was a pretty even split. Let me think, does that add up? Anyway, we'll figure it out later. We'll post the results on the final spreadsheet. And as far as the, what's one thing you tried you'd never try again? Well, as usual, that was all over the place. But honorable mention for backpacking, hot food, taking food that's really hot or tasty food that you didn't care too much for, and that seems to be it. Anyway, I appreciate everybody who did participate tonight, and hopefully we'll get the bugs out next week. I'd like to thank everybody who made it, even with the technical glitches. With special thanks, of course, to Kevin at V3BZ for logging the net. The East Coast Reflector hosts many interesting nets during the week. For more information, visit eastcoastreflector.com. Select the Nets tab on the main page. We now return control to ECR back to normal amateur use until next week at the same time, when the control voice will take you to the ECR Night Trivia Net. 7-3. Good night. W7F Team Clear.
W7FTM, KK7OGC, Fred and Reno. What was, I think I caught the node 53656 for tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Is that East Coast time or West Coast time?
Oh, no problem, Freddie. Let me pull it up again. It's All-Star node. Yeah, there we are. 53656. 53656. And again, Echolink, you can also connect, and there's more information on that website, superstationarc.org. And it doesn't conflict with any East Coast Reflector net, so I went ahead and mentioned it tonight. But yeah, we'd love to hear you there and have you over there. It's American History Trivia only, so if you're an American History buff, come on by.
Superstition.org. Do I copy correctly?
Superstitionarc.org. Superstitionarc.org, and they'll fill you in. It's actually simulcast all over the Phoenix area. There's another club involved, the West Valley Amateur Radio Club, so you'll be heard all over Phoenix if you check in. And anyway, like I say, we'd like to have you.
All right. Sorry. Jane had an opinion. Superstitionsomething.org?
Or as Stevie Wonder would say, Superstition ARC, Amateur Radio Club, the abbreviation, superstitionarc.org.
Copy. Thank you. Superstitionarc.org on 53656, and I guess I'll get the times from there.
9 p.m. Arizona time, Sunday, so yeah, we'll hope to see you there. And thanks again, W7FTM.
Thank you, Alex. KK7OGC, and I'll be clear. Thank you.